Angela Gibson with Angie Speaks, and I'm honored today to have our guest with us, our honored guest, Wywana Montgomery. She certainly, in my opinion, is every woman. Hi, Wywana, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, dear?
I'm well, but I think our sound is a little low, so let me try to turn it up.
Okay. Is that
Okay, it's better
better?
now.
Okay.
So it's great to have you. You look fabulous.
Thank you. Thank you.
And so this song, Every Woman, resonates with me in terms of you because when I consider where you've been, where you are, and where you're going, it is definitely like a testament to living beyond Splinter and maybe multiple splinters. And
Absolutely.
also to the fact that you have learned resilience over and over again and is currently demonstrating that right now by pivoting on purpose. The
Yes.
world is in a season of pivoting, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. I mean, everyday life. I mean, you have to simple things. I have to think when I get ready to go outside and go into a store, is my mask in the car? Just basic things. School is different. I have two
Mm-hmm.
girls who are freshmen in high school, and they were all excited about getting dressed up cute and roaming the halls and talking to the boys, and they right now they're talking to nobody but me and the teacher through Google Classroom.
They must feel so cheated. I'm telling
Right.
you, cheated.
Well, at least the sports are going on, so they are able to go to volleyball practice and have volleyball games and a bit of
Uh-huh.
social outlet there. But truly, we have COVID-19 is a big splinter right now, and we have to
Major.
pivot everything we're doing, the way we work. Everybody's working from home. I was a remote employee anyway for the past
Mm-hmm.
5 years because I work for an educational technology company, and that's just my role. But for
Mm-hmm.
everyone else, that's
Right.
brand new to figure out how to juggle that, especially while educating your children, if you have school-age children who are also at home while you're trying to work from home.
And
So
boy, can
man,
I relate to that. It's madness, girl.
right.
Madness. I myself have a 6-year-old and a 12-year-old. My
Oh yeah.
gosh. I think my husband and I, we're like trying to make sure that we don't turn on each other. Like we're very cognizant of the fact that that could totally happen.
Yes,
But
that's
in
important.
life, yeah, it's very
Y'all have to
important.
be allies against the children. No.
Yeah, we made a conscious effort that we are on the same team in this. We're gonna do. He'll say, we're gonna do great. We're gonna do fine.
Yes, you got
But we
this.
all know what's going on. It's like hell. But in light of the fact that you're such an example of someone who's resilient and pivoting on purpose, I just want to tell the audience a little bit about who you are. You are the mother of 4 children.
Yes.
You are a wife of 21 years. You look quite young to be a wife of 21 years, by the
I'll
way.
take it. Thank you.
It's not flattery, it's true.
Thank you.
And you're also the creator of the No Fear Conference, which, by the way, anybody who's watching, it's on October 17th. No Fear Ladies Conference, which is done yearly, right? And it's a big
Yes.
deal. Please sign up. And hopefully, we'll have a link for you to register so that you can take advantage of some of these stories that will be portrayed on that during that time. You are also a full-time director of implementation at an educational technology company.
Yes,
Ooh, I'm
ma'am.
tired of it, job. And you also founded the Reach Foundation, where you help youth, teens and adults, teens and young
Uh,
adults. Who are
Reach,
they?
Reach Forward Foundation, middle and high school youth. So
Middle.
basically, like 11 years old all the way up to 18, boys and girls.
Wow. And what are you helping them with?
So what we're doing is basically life skills, decision making, college prep, career exploration. My husband takes the reins and runs with it on the boys' side. But
Mhm.
a lot of times we meet together, but really we're trying to shore up and be part of that village that the parents need. So we're
Right.
making sure we've already done a college tour. Some people don't even think about that until junior year. We had sixth graders on our college tour. Some of the
Mhm.
parents had never been on a college campus, so they were so excited to be experiencing this with their young person. So we're really just trying to support them and shore them up as far as making good decisions, exploring who they really are as people. We talked to them about finance. We just started a savings challenge, as a matter of fact, and we gave them piggy banks, so there's no excuse. And just even that, you know, Angela, that's a mindset thing. A lot of people think, I don't have enough money to save. Well, what we want the young people to understand, it's not about how much money, it's about the mindset and building the habit. If you find a penny on the ground, put it in that piggy bank.
Right.
So we're really just trying to help them with life skills and what it takes to be a productive citizen.
And who else to do it but you? So of all these things that you've accomplished, what would you say you're the most proud of? Because I was like, wow, I wouldn't know which one to say. You're all so phenomenal.
I guess I have to choose a personal one and a professional one. Personally, the thing I am most proud of, the fact that we just sent our firstborn to college. And you know, you can be the best parents, you can teach them right, they can be in church, they can be everything. And we all know people who they are wonderful, amazing parents, and their children behave as if somebody else raised them.
Lego bees.
Right.
No, raised by wolves.
Right, wolves, like no manners, no home. So this young person that used to be this fat, juicy baby, now sitting on the campus of Loras College in Dubuque, Iowa. He received an academic scholarship, but he was recruited to play basketball. He's pursuing a degree in engineering, and he's in the civic leaders program because that rubbed off on him from mom and dad. He loves helping other people. So he's actually has a scholarship as well related to getting out and doing service and mission trips and things like that. So, I mean, that's just something amazing to think about, carrying a child for 9 months and to get him to this place, you know, where he's stepping into young manhood. So that is my most successful personal accomplishment. I would say professionally, it's really hard to name one because I've been blessed to do a lot of different things. I think I've had a pretty exciting career. I'm one of the few people who can say I've worked for both the NBA and the WNBA. In fact, that's what brought me to Oklahoma. When the Seattle Supersonics became the Oklahoma City Thunder, I was relocated to Oklahoma City to get their community relations efforts off the ground. So I am the founding community relations manager for the Thunder. So everything they do in the community, I've been away from there. Let's see, we've been here 12 years. I was with them their first 3 seasons. There's only about 2 new programs that they've started since I left. So I can honestly say that my fingerprint is definitely there, you know, in all of the community experts. So professionally, I think I'm most proud of something that doesn't have to do with my corporate work. You know, it's with my Want to Speak speaker hat on. Almost 3 years ago now, from a Facebook social media relationship, I had the chance to travel all the way to Gaborone, Botswana. And the reason, and a lot of people don't even know where Botswana is because it's a country in the continent of Africa that has not been at war, so you don't hear that angle. And they actually were never colonized by Europe either. They were actually colonized by South Africa. So they've only been independent for about 52 years, 52, 53 years now. But through a social media relationship, a woman began to follow me because she also worked with women and girls and just started to follow me. And finally, one day she gathered her courage and inboxed me, and we just began to speak. And we thought that we would do something together virtually. And, you know, I said, Lord, this would be much more exciting and impactful if I could travel there in person. And Angela, you don't even know this story, but in 35 days, the Lord blessed us to raise the $3,500 that we needed. And people continued to give. We got up to like 3,900. They continued to give. They said, we know you've reached your goal, but the Lord told me to bless you anyway, and I'm not going to miss my blessing. So that means then we had the spending money and more supplies. We donated like feminine hygiene supplies to a women's shelter. But that is a proud moment for me because I am able to say I'm a 2-time international, have had the chance to speak internationally twice. I was over in Japan in
so
2012.
awesome.
Yes. And so I got to speak to about 130 girls at an international
in Japan?
school.
Or in Botswana?
I just jumped back and forth. Botswana was the girls. Japan
Okay.
was because one of the interns that I had when I worked for the Supersonics, I had a
Uh-huh.
Japanese intern, and he went back home. And after his one semester with me, he was able to go back home and become a consultant for the Japanese National Basketball Association. So after that big tsunami that happened over there, he
Yes.
flew myself and my husband there to do, my husband did a camp because the tsunami happened on the day that the kids would have had their big, what would be a state basketball tournament here. They have a
Uh,
big national one, like every level, the best of elementary, the best. They missed it because of the tsunami. So my
uh-huh.
husband hosted a camp for all the kids who were supposed to compete and missed their basketball competition because of the tsunami. I was there. I did 2 workshops to help all of the college and pro and semi-pro sports teams build community relations organizations just like we do here with our NBA and all of our professional sports. That's a new concept there.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, so there I got the chance to speak to actually 2 huge groups of adults at every
Mhm.
level that were building their careers in sports professionally.
I told you guys she's every woman. Some of this stuff I'm just finding out myself too. She
So
has
you're
figured
about
out how
to,
to pivot on purpose. From
yes,
that perspective of having accomplished so much and is proud of, it seems like there's multiple things to be proud of. I want to break down or talk today into 3 different segments: the
okay,
relational, maybe 4: the
okay,
relational, the professional, the spiritual, and the financial.
okay,
And I think I want to go straight for the professional first because
okay,
it's so you started already. But
yeah.
I want you to tell me about a time before you were so proud of everything when
Hmm.
you felt like, or if you ever felt like you just couldn't get to your goal because of some splinter in your own personal life. Because this series is about
Right,
living beyond the splinter or navigating the splinter because
right.
sometimes it doesn't go away, right?
Well, definitely, despite the wonderful opportunities that I've had professionally,
Mm-hmm.
I've definitely had one moment in my life where I was transitioning from one career to another. And it was
Mm-hmm.
like an abrupt change. It's one of those things where the Lord had literally been telling me for 3 months that it was time to make a move. It was time to transition. And because I was comfortable, that gets us in trouble. Because I was comfortable, I was unwilling to pivot and I did not move. And the situation became so uncomfortable. And so I
Mm-hmm.
ended up leaving. And it was such a shock to me being at a place where I'd accomplished so many things. I was setting records, but it's like all of a sudden, even the people turned on me, like the people I worked with. And it
Really?
was such a painful experience, when you're giving your all, you're getting up early in the morning every
Mm-hmm.
day, and you're just like, what happened? Why is this happening to me? I mean, I
Right.
literally laid in the bed for 3 days, and my husband had to make me get up and take a shower and make sure I was eating. And it might sound weird, but it was literally like a loss, almost like somebody died, because I put my heart and soul into that
Mm-hmm.
company. And so to be blindsided and have all these things turn on me, it was just such a shock. Like even
What
in
exactly happened? Why you felt people turned on you?
what I don't I think there was some organizational, and I have to be careful how I talk about this. There were some organizational changes going on, and I
Mm-hmm.
think actually there was a need to shift me out of the way because of pay and things like that. You need to cut the budget, you want to, and then I think there might have been a little bit of jealousy there, like I was the new girl from the outside, and then you have people who, maybe want a different position,
Mm-hmm.
just a lot of little
Politics.
interesting, right. That's a great way to sum it up, politics of it all. And it just was so, I don't know, it felt like a loss, like losing
Mm,
a huge part of myself, because you know how you put so much of your identity into what
mhm.
you do. And
Right.
so, but I'm telling you, the Lord he just worked that thing out. I had a new job making more money with less responsibility in like 5 days. And
Uh-huh.
I think it would have been
In
less than
5 days?
5 days. Like
That's how he does it. That's how he does
right.
it
I
sometimes.
applied for unemployment and didn't even have time for it to come through because because I already had a job. And not only
Wow.
that, but even financially was well taken care of through that whole situation. double pay for like 6 months. So, I mean, he
So
just,
would you say you pivoted on purpose, or did God pivot you? Sometimes I think He does
you
the
know,
pivoting.
I seriously think God did the pivoting because, like I told you, he had already told me 3 months before all this happened that it was time to move. And
And you didn't
because
listen.
I didn't listen, I let it
Mm,
get uncomfortable. I let it get uglier, and I should have listened and I should have moved,
mm.
because he told me to move. So he did the pivot. And I know all of those things were necessary because I would not have been able to launch my conference, launch my speaking platform, might not have even written the book because so much of my time.
Oh, wait. You're an author too?
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
yeah. I forgot to. I didn't know that. Okay, what's the name of the book?
Bold, Brave, and Courageous, a no fear success guide for teen girls.
Oh,
And I am
let
working
me
on,
repeat that, please.
yeah,
Hold on. So the name of the book is Bold, Brave, and Courageous. A what?
a no fear success guide for teen girls.
A no fear success guide for teen girls.
Got it right here.
I love that cover. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. So now you see everything that you were about ties very well together because you're actually doing it. It's actually very clear from the
Right.
time we started speaking today. So I'm so happy for the actual portrayal in your life that says I'm resilient and I
Yes.
will pivot when I need to. Now I look up this word pivot because it's being used a lot these days.
Right.
And it says pivoting, the definition I found, pivoting is a word you hear a lot right now,
Right.
but people often misunderstand what it means. And
Okay.
essentially what it means is that you're keeping one foot on the ground while rotating the other.
Now that's
What
good.
do you think about that?
You know what? I literally I got a very clear visual of that with relationship to my conference. This
Mm-hmm.
is the seventh annual. It's
Seven.
normally seventh annual. It is
Mm-hmm.
normally in August, but I had to get out of August because I was still in the midst of what that new plan was going to be. But when you think about what you said, the true definition is keeping one foot in place, like in the same place on the ground while you turn the other. I
Mm-hmm.
would say that's what I'm doing in this conference because it was a big decision for me to decide if I was going to have it at all. Because I'm so used to it being in person, all of the
Right.
networking and eating breakfast together and lunch and vendors and all of those things that are different if you're
Mm-hmm.
online. But I had to sit and think from a business perspective and from my personal vision, how can
Mm-hmm.
I keep my foot planted? So basically, don't change the overall goal and the
Mm-hmm.
mission of the conference, but
Right.
how can I move that other foot and turn and be flexible for the situation that we're in?
This is powerful stuff. What would you tell your audience? What's the mindset that you think the audience needs to understand in order to be able to pivot on purpose like you did in this situation? When it would have been easier to say, pandemic? How do I do a conference in a pandemic? I'm
Right,
used to meeting in person. I'm used to the personal touch. I mean, the excuses, I'm sure they
right,
were probably building up like crazy. The thoughts that said, no, you can't do it this year. But you said, no, I'm gonna keep my foot on the ground and rotate the other and find a way. What would you
right.
tell the people who may see this talk about how to do that?
I would say the mindset that you have to have is just think about it. The entire world, even when we were in the midst of quarantine, the entire world still had to keep going. You know, we didn't, everybody, now, God bless the people that did unfortunately just lose their job because it was, if they worked in a restaurant, you just can't do that at home. There's
Right.
certain things, but in the corporate world, the corporation will say, hey, well, let's figure out, we can't close our doors because there's a pandemic. We better figure out how to get our employees up to speed and get the right equipment and technology so they can work at home. So the mindset that my attendees have to have is your mission and your vision and your purpose. They might be even more important now than they were before because
Mm-hmm.
people are having mental health issues because like every state is different. So like Oklahoma has opened up a lot of different things, but my family back home in Washington State, a lot of stuff is still on for real lockdown, like
Oh,
straight up
wow.
lockdown still. You're not going and hanging out and doing all this stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
the world still goes on. People may need what you're doing even more. For just think about it. People have been sitting in quarantine. What are they doing? They're watching TV anyway. So why not watch the No Fear Ladies Conference and get a dose of resilience and get some fresh ideas and hear from
Yes,
some
yes,
high
yes.
energy, impactful ladies and a gentleman, and some live music. And I still figured out how to have vendors. So the mindset of the audience needs to be that life as you know it doesn't have to come to a grinding halt just because we have to do things different. It's
Right.
important to stay optimistic, keep your energy up. I had to focus, what can I do? Instead
What
of
can
just,
I do? Find
what
a
can I
way.
do? Instead of the pile of, well, now I can't do this and now I can't do that. You have to focus on what can you do,
Right.
you know?
That's the question. I find that when I ask myself the right questions, I get better answers. And that's definitely a
Absolutely.
question to ask. What,
Absolutely.
I know all the things I can't do, but what can I
What
do?
can I
Love
do?
that.
Right.
So
And
you
what's
talked
a
about
new
your
way to do
profession.
it?
Go ahead, say that again.
Yeah. And what's a new way to do it? Like
And
this.
what's a new way to do it? So guys, if you want to pivot on purpose, in order for you to be resilient during this crises that we're in, to be able to live beyond the splinter or navigate the splinter of COVID-19, because it ain't over,
Right.
we have to be thinking, what can I do? And can I do it differently? I love that, because it's the mindset of an action taker. Oh,
Right.
excuse me. No fear, no fear.
Right.
Register for that conference, by the
That's
way,
a
guys.
whole other story we could talk about. I should have known, because the Lord gave me the name No Fear. And for anyone listening, I want to be clear. I am a woman of faith, but it's not a Christian conference, if that makes sense. My conference is for everybody. I don't care if you subscribe to a faith or not. I have Muslim friends who come. I have friends that might not believe anything who come. But it is good information, empowering, educational. There are practical nuggets that you can apply to your life. It doesn't matter. So I'm a woman of faith, and you're not going to miss that. I'm not going to hide that, but it's not proselytizing is what I'm trying to say. This is for every woman. Just like that song we opened up with, I'm every woman.
Every woman, I love it.
Every woman. And there's always been a challenge every year, a little new challenge to remind me that I have to do it afraid, even if you are. Push past the fear and go.
Do it afraid. Your teeth may be chattering and your knees may be buckling, Lisa
Right.
Nichols says, but you do it anyway. Oh, Lord.
Absolutely.
Do it afraid. I love that. So professionally, we saw how you navigated that splinter. Now we want to talk about how you're doing it relationally. How are you navigating the splinter and being resilient during this time when it's easy for you to fight with hubby, fight with the kids, everybody's in the same space.
Right.
I mean, woo! Well, how do you do it?
I would say, first of all, it's one day at a time. Some days are better than others, but a thing that's really important for me, the same way that you have a very specific morning routine, I feel like you set the stage in the morning. Yes. So for me, that's starting the day in prayer, because now my mind is elevated. It doesn't mean that things may not happen that aren't upsetting or challenging, but my mind was already elevated and in a better space, so that when that thing happened, I was able to have a different response.
Wow.
You see what I mean?
The way you prepare helps you to respond. It helps you to pivot in the moment.
Right.
Is that what happens?
Exactly.
Hallelujah. I love that.
Right. I mean, you just have a different aspect. It's like, even I work from home. If I get up in the morning and I feel super groggy, like, oh my gosh, well, then that's the morning that I know, even if I don't have any meetings, we can always do the thing where you make sure you're professional from the top up, and you could very well be wearing sweatpants or a slip on the bottom. Who knows?
You won't expose me today.
But those days where I'm like, oh my gosh, that's when I have to pray, get up early, take a shower, put on my best outfit. I even spray perfume, and nobody's going to be around to smell it, but my husband and my kids. You have to put your game face on and get ready like you're really going somewhere. And I've noticed our girls do that for school. They feel better. Some days they don't. Some days they do have the robe on when they're off camera. But there are days where they just feel better to get up and put their cute outfit on, put their eyelashes on, and they ain't going to be doing nothing but sitting on the iPad. And they put their eyelashes on and their lip gloss anyway. You feel better.
That's true. Actually, my kids' school, they require them to get dressed up. The school they go to, they have to put on that uniform every morning and sit in front of the computer as if they're in class. They did not give them a pass.
They've got to keep up the routine. Well, see, mine aren't on camera. like there the whole time that school's been going on since August 27th. My
Uh-huh.
daughter's only had 2 live classes. The rest of it is just the teachers posting the work, and the teachers
Oh,
are
wow.
pre-recording the videos. And so you watch the lecture, how to do the math problem or whatever, and then you just turn it on. But they've had some video assignments, which were cool.
Mhm.
So then my niece was like, wait a minute, I got to go take a shower before I record this Spanish video. So,
Wow.
so yeah. And
So
the
you
other
so
piece,
relationally, you're saying you have to set your mind ahead of time. You get
yes,
up and you have a morning routine so
yes.
that you are thriving in your relationships in the middle of this lockdown or this pandemic.
Right. And take advantage of it. Like we've gotten a little lax. Well, I wouldn't say we're lax, but school is going on, so our time is more full. But we had bought all kind of fun board games and card games, and we're doing more quality family things as
Hmm.
well. So that's a way to stay connected. And you have to be intentional. I try not to just only talk to the kids when I'm giving orders. You know what I mean? Is your homework done? Clean your room, clean the bathroom. You have to work hard to have like a real conversation and not just bark commands all the time. So, and my husband is super supportive. He's working. He normally works with school, so he's had to pivot as well, and he's doing his class that he normally teach in the school. They're distance learning. He goes over
Uh-huh.
to the neighborhood where the school is twice a week, and they do their leadership class at the park. So, and
Mm.
in
So
between, it's like
he
on
helps have a
camera.
partnership, is
Yes.
what I'm hearing.
Yes. So we bounce things off of each other. And I'd say the other piece that really helps you on a personal level with
Hmm.
dealing with the splinter that is COVID-19 and pivoting and all of that, be careful what you're taking in. I don't listen
Mm.
to negative news on TV all day long. Yes, you need to be aware, but I don't, especially when COVID was first like really getting on a spin, I could not just listen to devastating statistics 24 hours a day. You just
In other
can't.
words, don't overdose on bad news.
Right. And that goes for people. If,
Right.
if the people that you talk to and everything is negative and humdrum and oh my gosh, and this is terrible and everybody's dying, and you just can't. I'm not going to lie. There's some people, when I see their phone number, I have to decide, can I handle that conversation right now? And if I can, if my tank is half empty and then the person on the phone is possible that they might empty it the rest of the way, I'm not going to talk to you right now. I'm going to wait till
Exactly.
I'm freshly prayed up or done something fun. The husband took me out or something. Now I'm ready to deal with you.
You ain't gonna drain me of the little bit of coffee that I
Right.
got in my system.
Right.
I love it. It's so
You
true
can't do
though.
it. You can't
And
do
it
it.
helps with your relationships when you're not that imbalance is not there with negativity in other associations that you have. So we
Right.
talked about the professional, we talked about the relational. Let's talk about the spiritual because that's been
Mhm.
like a running theme in this conversation. How are
Right.
you pivoting, or how is it helping you to be resilient during this pandemic?
Well, one
Where
thing
is
I
it showing up the
Man,
most?
first of all, I have an excellent example. Our our pastor at our church that we attend, since this all began in like mid-March, he has literally, and his house is about 45 minutes from our church. He
Uh-huh.
has literally been at the church every single day, 7 days a week, praying from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. and then again at 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. And my husband and I don't make it every day. We usually always try to make it on Friday, and sometimes we make it one other day of the week as well. We've gone in there and nobody was there but him, but he didn't stop. He has literally only missed about 2 or 3 days, and that was last week because his mentor died and he had to travel to go to the funeral. But he
Wow.
has literally been traveling to the church to pray twice a day since mid-March.
My goodness, he's
And
committed.
so that's an example right there. I'm like, he is like the Bible, in the Bible, Nehemiah. Remember the story? Nehemiah was on the wall praying for the
Hmm.
city and the people. And he
Gotta
said he
rebuild
would
that
not,
wall.
yeah, he would not come down until the situation was fixed, till the situation pivoted. And I just feel like our pastor is like a living, breathing Nehemiah. I told him that. I said, thank you for being Nehemiah on the wall. He doesn't
Mm.
care if he goes and he's the only person there. He's still there, praying the hour. It might be longer than that. Matter of fact, he was teasing us. He was like, don't stay more than about an hour and 10, 15 minutes because there's my personal, I'm praying with y'all, but there's my personal preparation spiritually that I need to do, to get
Mm.
ready for service, and other things. So he's like, I don't want to be rude. So when
Wow. So
an
he doesn't get
hour after,
distracted by all the things. And I'm thinking that's what you do too. You don't get distracted by all the things because there's a lot
right,
of things to do, but
right,
you are focused on your spiritual growth,
right.
sounds like.
And
That
even
helps you to
when
be resilient.
even as I'm working, if I'm, now I can't even make too many phone calls because the school administrators and the teachers who I normally speak with, we can't, they're not in the building. So unless they're calling you on their cell phone, a lot of email stuff. So I will, even as I'm going throughout my work, I have my favorite praise and worship music in my ears.
Wow.
It
Setting
just,
your mind. Setting your
yeah,
mind.
yeah. It keeps me
Awesome.
focused. I'll be in the zone. The kids be talking. I'm like, now, what did you say again? Because I done went there. My spirit, I don't have to be, trust me, I get on my knees and in my prayer closet as well, but it's amazing. I don't think people realize how much the Spirit of God can be with you and you can feel it, even though it looks like you're just doing regular stuff. Like you're
Exactly.
answering your email and you're, writing a report or whatever it is you need to do. But it's like that, that worship is in your head. You're just going, you're in the zone.
Because
I
God
think,
doesn't take time off. He doesn't.
right. I think my productivity goes up because I'm just feeling it. I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like I'm able to stay in an atmosphere of worship even while doing my job. And
So
there's a lot
instead of
of
being
benefit.
worried, you're worshiping. I love that.
Right. And
Ah,
in your scripture, some people, it's like they're frozen, and I used to be that way, and you have to work hard not to get all legalistic and religious, if that makes sense.
mm-hmm.
It might be that you need to find one verse today, one
Right.
verse that is what you need to meditate on, get that in your spirit, journal about it. You don't have to be like, oh, it doesn't count unless I've read for 5 hours and 3 hours. And now your pastor probably does one that really is, it should, but you don't have to miss it thinking it always has to be like extra
No.
long and extra deep. You know what I mean? That
Actually,
Bible
that's
has
what
to,
I've been doing. One scripture. I read a
yeah,
little devotional and I use one scripture to help me to focus on, okay, how can I be like Jesus today with this one little scripture? I'm not trying
you
to
said
like
it.
become the saint. I just want to, God, how can I make this practical today? It
Right.
helps tremendously.
And chances are, if you think you got to read 5 to 10 chapters every day, you don't remember it anyway.
Exactly.
So you got, even though you read, numerically a lot,
Mm-hmm.
probably didn't get nearly as much as you would get out of the one devotional and the one scripture. That Bible.com app to me is the best thing they ever created because you can easily find the devotional that meets you where you're at and what you need right
Exactly.
now. And that
Mm-hmm.
will just minister to you like crazy. So
Exactly. I find that
spiritual,
also having books to read. I just finished reading Fervent by Priscilla Shirer
yes,
about having a strategic, successful plan for prayer that really works. And my gosh, she
I
tore up
like
that
that.
book. So
Yeah,
yeah, having a strategy definitely helps.
right.
Has there been any situation where you felt like you had to pivot spiritually during this pandemic?
Um, hmm. I don't know if it's really a spiritual pivot. I don't know. That's a hard one.
Okay.
I guess the only thing that's been, kind of interesting, my church never closed.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't close, so we were there, and they put the chairs apart at first, and one while our church used to be a school, so we have lots of classroom space, and so they
Mm-hmm.
had the TV set up, and like if you feel more comfortable, they're spaced out, only 9 people per room, things like that. And it's so funny. My husband always streams our service on Facebook Live because we have friends at home. It's the time difference, so they like to join our praise and worship like before it's time for them to go to their own church because we're two
Mm-hmm.
hours ahead of Washington State. And for a while, he felt like he needed to stop streaming live because people were upset. Why are you guys at church? And people aren't social distancing. Like the chairs were apart and then they put them back together. And we have enough room where people who want to sit like way in the back and they have their masks, they can, but everybody's not. But I would say, I guess a thing that I reached in that, I don't judge other people who don't feel comfortable. If the church is closed, I mean, my pastor was like, I have plenty of friends, their churches are closed. He said, but I know that the Lord was specific for me not to close it. So I'm covering, and think about it, we've been covered in prayer this whole time. I mean, I can,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, I've been covered. I feel, and you have to do things according to your own faith. And
Right.
like I said, I'm not judging others, but I feel very confident in my faith and that I'm protected when I'm in service. Now, I wouldn't go to some random other gathering where the Spirit of God is not there in a bunch of people. Absolutely not, because I don't know what else is operating there. But
Right.
just realizing that people are in different places and you have to respect that, and that's okay. That's really okay. And then not necessarily COVID, but of course, all the racial injustice has been happening at the same time. Now,
Mm,
that from a spiritual perspective, I had to really let the Lord work on me and make sure that
mm,
I didn't start to get very angry and hate, because especially as a mother of a black son and a black husband, and just social media places, and certain people don't get crazy too much on my page because I
mm.
put out a certain thing. Although I have one classmate who is interesting and waits to jump on something, but just making sure I guarded my spirit. I would say that's one place where I had to pivot. I had to stop watching all the coverage, and definitely,
Mhm.
don't click on somebody's Facebook page that has some kind of extreme view that's just going to set you off.
I know,
You
right?
know, I got to keep my joy and keep my peace. And I
Yeah,
and I
I don't watch all that coverage either. It's just
right.
too much.
And I
It's
had to
just
go and pray because there was some moments where I felt so much grief. I was
mhm.
weighted down in the spirit, and started even get concerned before my son left about sending him to Dubuque, Iowa, which is not
Wow.
very diverse. But so yeah, that I would say it was more not less related to COVID and more
Mhm.
related to all the racial incidences and things that were happening. There was some time where I had to really pray because I just felt the weight of it. It was pretty heavy.
Yeah. It was like it's like a mourning like
Yeah.
going on. Yeah, I totally felt that too. So we're almost at the end of our talk. The last
Man,
little area to focus on is the financial pivot. I mean, a lot of people, we just have to pivot. And when it
right,
comes to the finances, the money is tight, it's uncertain, it's a reason to get anxious if you let it.
right.
So tell me, how are you navigating that?
Well, I would
How
say,
have you had to pivot?
right. So first of all, God is good. I got a promotion in the midst of a pandemic.
I
Um,
told you she's every woman, ladies and gentlemen.
and but you do have to pay attention. Now, one place we found that we're saving money because and everything was shut down. You weren't eating out at the restaurants all the time.
Hmm.
But we have dealt with some income loss. We have dealt with some income loss with part of our resources. So with that, you have to really be smart. And a big place where families make a mistake is not including the children when you're talking about finances. And
Right.
culturally, there's a lot of interesting things where people they're kind of raised that that's grown folks' business. The kids don't need to know. Well, ours are teenagers, so they're definitely old enough to bring them in and understand. And they need to understand why we're doing this. And if you don't ever include them, they also don't know how to manage money or how to pivot or how to save or what have you. And we have a son
Right.
in college now. So when this first hit, I lost like 4 speaking engagements that were paid. And I was like, okay, well, I was counting on that to put towards his
Mhm.
tuition, because we do that monthly, and God is good. We've had enough saved, and different things happen. But you have to be smart about what you're doing. And I would say the biggest place where we're saving money is not eating out, and then making sure you're paying more attention when you grocery shop. Like, you should never go to the grocery store hungry anyway. You buy everything when you're hungry.
Oh, really? I never
Yeah,
thought of
when
that.
you're hungry, you're impulse buying like extra snacks and everything else. Everything looks good. And also, I'm being more conscious. We'll look in the food pantry because you don't see the things that are your favorites, and say there's no
Uh-huh.
food, we need to go grocery shopping. Those
Mhm.
cans that you just keep pushing in the back. No, I have pulled out like, we have black beans. We have no. What can we do with these black beans? And really putting meals together with what you have.
Right. My husband is very good at that.
Yeah,
We put some stuff up in here.
yeah, and that's a place where it's easy to get like very wasteful on things. Just because you don't,
Mm,
like say, you don't see what you want, so you think you need to keep shopping, and there's like plenty of food in there.
right.
But yeah, and then
So good.
investing, we do a little bit, we're not gurus or anything, but we do a little bit with the stock market. I'd say another thing that's been smart, some things have gone way down, but they're going to come up eventually. I mean,
Hmm.
you would think that Ford Motor Company in the modern era would get down to its stock being less than $5 a share. Well,
Wow.
that's the time to buy it, right? Because they're not,
Hmm.
people are going to still need cars. And Ford is
Right.
like one of the easiest cars to fix, all of that, American made, everybody knows how to repair it. So you can do that as well. But there definitely are places where you have to dial back because,
Hmm.
like I said, there in my husband's line of work, it was impacted by COVID. And salary cuts. We bless God, he still has the job. So we can work with the salary cut, but you do have to work with it, and
Yes.
be aware of where you're going to make up that difference. So,
Awesome. I am so grateful that you shared your story today. I know there's a lot more we could cover. I do want to encourage the audience again to register for your conference that's coming up, No Fear conference in
yes.
October, No Fear Ladies Conference on October 17th. I think it will be a great opportunity for you to get some of the juicy nuggets that I'm sure your speakers and yourself will have to share. How can people reach you, Iwana, if they want to learn not only to live without fear, but also to live with a resilient mindset so that they can pivot in the middle of whatever they're going through right now, which I'm sure includes COVID-19? How can they reach you?
Absolutely. I can be reached at through my website. It's wywana.com, and that's not a very obviously spelled name. So wyjuana.com. So wywana.com is where you can find how to connect with me if you need me for a virtual or in-person speaking engagement. I do clarity strategy sessions with people to get clear around who they are, where are you going, what is the plan, and that's also how you can register for the conference and buy
Mhm.
my book or buy my book on Amazon.com. And I'm writing a new one right now. It's called The Pain of Being Destined for More. And so
Woo!
the
Love it.
pain of being destined for more. So I talk about those life experiences and challenges, those splinters. It is
Mm.
actually about a series of splinters that I've been through, to borrow the language from your book, that I've
Mhm.
been through, and how they were painful at the time. They hurt. I might have cried, but now I see why they were kind of a necessary part of my journey to make me
Mhm.
who I am. And I wouldn't have the platform that I have today without that. And that's another part of being resilient, understanding
Right.
that everything comes together for your good. You're stronger, you're better, you learn something from it. And the No Fear Ladies Conference will hit resilience in parenting, working from home, education, mindset, every area. We're there for you, and got your retail therapy in there too, and live musical guests. So it's gonna be
Retail
fun.
therapy. A lot of ways to put that phrase. To spend money, shopping. Yeah, I love it. So isn't that what God says though? All things work for the good of those who love him, who has been
Yes,
called according to his purpose. If
yes,
that's not a story about overcoming splinters, I don't know what else is. I also have my own story in my book, Peace Beyond the Splinter. Reclaim your promise of peace and profits. Yes, I believe in making money.
yes,
From anxiety's grip through prayer. You may be going through a lot of anxiety with COVID-19 and all that's happening in the world. But remember that prayer certainly can help us to navigate the splinter, pivot on purpose, and certainly to be resilient. Waiwana, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. You can reach me, Angela Gibson, at Angela Gibson Speaks on Instagram, or Angie Speaks on Facebook. We look forward to you joining our community. And you can also sign up for a coaching program which helps you to get more clarity in this crisis and or to live beyond your splinter. Thank you so much and have a better than terrific evening.
awesome.
Shalom.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, girl. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.